I certainly hope that now that we know all the shopkeepers, the lake locations have chatted up with them, that sort of thing, we can move things up a bit. Guess we should go and just meet our neighbor too. Who are you? Ractor. It's oppressively hot down here, and the air is full of synthetic odors that grab you by the sinuses and refuse to let go. You can smell engine grease and melting plastic, ionized air and lead solder. A quick scan of the room tells you why. The downstairs tenant has converted the space into a machine shop. Metal fabrication tools and Duraplast extruders line the walls, and a pair of heavy industrial manipulators hang from the ceiling. The man in a black trenchcoat stands with his back to you, staring at a monitor mounted above a sturdy workbench. He addresses you without turning. I was wondering when I'd meet the new neighbor. His voice is pleasant, cultured. There's a hint of a Russian accent there, but it's buried under layers of nuance. Please stay where you are. I'll be with you in just a moment. And unless you fancy an unplanned trip to Chrome Alley, don't touch anything. There are all manner of tools in here that could take your hand clean off. Thanks for the warning. Don't mention it. I have no interest in seeing anyone hurt in my shop, especially not my upstairs neighbor. Examine the robotic arms mounted to the ceiling. You focus on the enormous manipulator arms that you saw earlier. They're bulky, industrial things, dented from years of heavy use. Each arm has been fitted with at least a dozen different welders, soldering guns, extenders, and metal fabrication tools. You've seen machinery like this in factories before, but they look terribly out of place in the bolt-holes cramped engine room. Very good. Yes, that's coming along nicely. Very nicely indeed. He turns toward you smiling, and for the first time you can see his face. He has broadly handsome Slavic features and a chiseled jaw. His eyes are like flecks of ice. So sorry to have kept you waiting, mister. Uncle Bob. It's no problem. Don't worry about it. You're too kind. Now tell me, what can I do for you? His voice trails off as a flash of motion catches his eye. With alarming speed, a sinister-looking drone scuttles out from under the work table. Its movements are surprisingly agile and fluid. The machine rears back menacingly, spreading its forelegs in a clear sign of aggression. The man's smile tilts, and his tone goes apologetic. Please don't remind the drone. He can be territorial, but so long as you remain civil, he will not fight. He extends a hand. Simultaneously, the drone relaxes into a neutral position, lowering its killing legs. Ractor. My mechanical counterpart here is called Koshade. Shake hand. A pleasure. His hand is rough and abnormally warm to the touch. He shakes your hand with a solid grip. I'm very pleased to meet you, my friend. In a community such as Theoi, it's important to be on good terms with one's neighbors. Agreed. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask you some questions, if you have the time. He glances at the braziers on his forearm. Technical display winks to life, then gutters up. Very well. This morning's casting should still be cooling for a few minutes. That's time enough to talk. I don't know if I want to ask about the background of everyone. More interested in what he is doing now. You've got some interesting machinery in here, not the kind that you typically see outside corporate settings. He smiles. Same could be said of many in Hawaii, I'm sure. This is a smuggler's den, is it not? Our entire economy is based on people having things that they shouldn't. Is there a particular device that interests you out of curiosity? The robotic arms you've got over there, they look like something taken from an automotive assembly plant. Smile flashes brilliantly in the light. Good guess. That's precisely what they are. They fell off a boat, you might say. They weren't cheap, but I acquired them and had them mounted to the walls of my shop. I simply had to have them. The return on investment has been dramatic. Yes, they're cruder by far than the Waldo devices that I use in my professional life, but they still do the job and they are mine. He gazes lovingly at the industrial arms, still smiling. They have increased my fabrication capabilities nearly tenfold, and that to me is worth any price. When you said this morning's castings, what did you mean? Exactly what I said. A casting that I made of a new locomotive assembly for Koshei. Gestures at the display above the work table. A biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of an decapod crustacean. The mangrove crab, to be specific. And will this new leg assembly make your drone more effective? It remains to be seen, but there is more to life than combat effectiveness, is there not? By fabricating new components for Koshei, I unlock options, different ways of being. Even the failures, and there have been many, have value in this context. How did you learn to do all this? More training and experience than I care to mention. He offers you a wry smile. Drone architecture was once my profession, you see. Now it's more of a calling, one that I'm free to pursue. Now that I've freed myself from the shackles of corporate servitude. Okay, Kashe. Interesting name for a drone. Yes, I suppose that it is. Not many triggers would name their most prized possession after a villain from a fairy tale. A note from my heritage, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know it. Another academic etiquette. What was the fairy tale about? A thoroughly unpleasant person. Hoshei the Deathless, he was called, and for good reason. His soul was cleverly hidden outside of his body, and he could not be killed so long as it remains intact. Koshei was a villain, and a notorious kidnapper of women, but something about him always stuck with me. I suppose it was the notion of immortality through cleverness that resonated. There was something to be learned from that, I was sure. And so, when it came time to name my beloved creation, his was the first name that came to mind. And is your drone deathless, like its namesake? In a manner of speaking, I suppose that he is. I have redundant copies of every piece of his architecture, and his core programming is stored on disk in a secret location. If they ever suffer critical damage, I can easily bring him back. I had planned once to automate the self-repair process, I must confess. It was really quite ingenious, but alas my research was lost. One day I will reclaim it, and Koshi will become as deathless as the stories claim. It will not be today. Hmm. Keeping all this machinery running can't be cheap. How can you afford it? Freelance? At the risk of sounding immodest, I've commodified myself rather well. There are always corporations in need of design consultations. Be surprised by how lucrative such work can be. And there is always other work that I can turn to in a pinch. Not very well. Come back anytime. It's pleasant to have someone to talk to. Guess he sleeps here. Ah, finally we're done. So, anyone want to chat up here? Anyone? Last chance. Well, that's that, I guess. We're runners now. Something on your mind, gun show? Who holds up a palm? Don't, just don't. When we're alone, it's either Wu or Duncan. Gun show doesn't live here. Who looks down the barrel of his gun, brushes off some dirt. And yeah, there's plenty on my mind. That's why I'm doing equipment maintenance. The discipline of it helps me focus, process. What about you? You look like you want to talk about something. Actually, I do. I know this is stretching things lengthwise, but I'd like to, if at all possible, get this initial business wrapped up so we can go on missions and do stuff. This is definitely not for anyone who just wants to quickly get into a game. I can't get that dream that I had out of my head. You said you had one too, right? Yeah. Yours sounded like a nasty one. I don't remember much about mine. Was pretty creeped out by our run even to the walled city. Between that and all the drama, I'd be surprised if I didn't have a nightmare. He shrugs. Did it feel any different from other nightmares you've had? He takes his time, thinks about his answer a bit before he responds. You know how sometimes you'll be mad at a friend in a dream, and then wake up still mad at him? Then you treat him like he did something wrong when you see him? It kind of feels like that to me. Like I dreamed I was swimming toward a bright light, and when I woke up, I was out of breath from the effort. Was the walled city in your dream? Of course the walled city was in my dream. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? He gives you a lopsided grin. Was it in your dream too? Sure looked like it. I'm not sure I'm surprised. The walled city is more than just another slum in a sprawl. Hell, it is a sprawl. Of course we dreamed about it. The feeling I had there has stayed with me. It felt thick, heavy, and I got this overwhelming feeling of, I don't know, wretchedness, I guess. Okay. Remember anything more? Just little snatches of things. He puts his hands on his hips and concentrates. The whole city was breathing and it had teeth everywhere. And there was a tunnel that was so bright that I had to shut my eyes. And Raymond was there. He was either kneeling or lying down. I can't remember which, but he was crying. That's what made me wake up. The sound of my father crying. Okay, talk about being Shadowrunners. What's there to say? I worked my ass off to pull myself out of the gutter and make something of my life. I did what it took to earn my bronze, and now I'm a mercenary hiding in the shadows of a foreign country, doing dirty jobs that the corps need to keep off the books. It's the reverse of everything I ever wanted. You seem to be taking it pretty damn well, so let me ask you something. You said that you had nothing back home and that's why you were cool with becoming a runner. Was that true? You know it's true. When I got out of that prison, I had nothing. I still have nothing. That's bleak. Seriously bleak. He shakes his head. We really went in different directions, Bob. You to jail and me to Lone Star. Well, I get that you got nothing back home, but this is all about Raven for me. I need to understand what happened to him and who's responsible. I need justice. Hey, what's your opinion of Kindly Ching? I'd say she's got us right where she wants us, right under her thumb. What do you want to talk about specifically? Keep an eye on Strangler Bale. We should keep an eye on everybody, and that guy is definitely no exception. I've seen plenty of cold killers in the Barrens and plenty more since I joined Lone Star. This guy is the real deal. I'm not sure if he knows what the word remorse even means. You should steer clear of him. I'll be careful. Uh-huh. I can see that. Anything about the plastic faced man? Creepy dudes are nothing new to me. Even well-dressed creepy corporate dudes. Between the gangers we grew up with and the shit that I've run into as a cop, I've seen all kinds. I just want to know who he is and who he works for. Think we can trust the woman? No, of course not. A triad boss, an underground fixer? No, I don't think we can trust her. As long as we all share the same goals, we should be okay. That makes sense. As long as we serve her interests, she doesn't have a reason to screw us over. Exactly. It's simple. She provides jobs, we do jobs. She gets info about Raymond and that plastic-faced man, and we figure out what the hell is going on. We figure out what's going on, she doesn't end up in the trunk of a car at the bottom of the river. Everybody wins. Things might change at some point very rapidly though, so let's talk about Gibet and Isabel. That's the bigger problem. They seem competent, considering how young they are, but then again, they sound like they've been taking care of themselves since they were pretty young. The three of us work together well in the walled city. Based on that, I'd bet the four of us would make a solid crew. Do you trust them? As far as I trust any runner, yeah. It's like Raymond used to say, trust and verify. They haven't given me a reason not to trust them, so until they do, I'll believe what they say and keep my eyes open. Talk about Raymond then. What do you think's going on with him? I don't know. He was clearly obsessed with the walled city and whatever prosperity is. He sounds like a sleepwalker trying to stumble his way through a dream or something. Sleepwalker who hires Shadowrunners. Yeah, from Triad Bosses. Raymond was smart. Smart as hell. I'm sure he had a reason for using Kindly Ching as a fixer. Saying, no, yeah. Okay. Later's good. I wanna do some cardio, work up some steam. Then need to rack time for me. You should do the same, Bob. A couple of 100 push-ups would do you good. Yeah, I don't think so, Duncan. Hey, yourself out. You're lost. Only have karma for so many things. Need to focus. Hmm. Thinking, we need to get to know our comrades a little bit better, especially the new ones. Sybil's cabin is an exercise in controlled chaos. Her living space is utterly dominated by an enormous jury-rigged computer. Serpentine cables snake from component to component, tying dozens of obsolete terminals and cyberdecks together into a single colossal machine. This is my personal machine. If you're looking for your mission computer, it's downstairs. She doesn't bother looking up. You can see that she's elbow deep in the guts of an obsolete cyberdeck, one of a half-dozen that have been wired into her computer with braided cables. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you. Got a second? There's a long pause. Then she chirps out a response. We're talking now, aren't we? I guess so. Can I ask you a question? She leans in, scrutinizing the inners of the obsolete deck. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. We've been having weird dreams recently. Her body goes still. Yes, I think that everybody has. You wanna tell me what your dream was about? Not particularly. I don't remember much anyway. I've gotten good at forgetting things related to that place. Slowly, she begins rummaging through the guts of the obsolete cyberdeck again. I'm not interested in talking about my dreams. I just want to work on my computer in peace. Tell me about your computer then. She's my pet project. I call her the octopus. She waves a hand at the tangle of thick power cables that radiate out from the machine's central core. You might be able to guess why. How well... Ooh. Impressive. How well does it perform? She's a monster. She yanks a fried chip from the deck's motherboard and neatly sets it aside, and fumbles in a nearby bin for replacement. An absolute beast. What is this thing made of? Whatever I could find. Busted terminals, obsolete cyberdecks, aftermarket memory from a maximum loss dumpster. Scavengers would kill for this stuff in the walled city, but out here, people throw it away. She chuckles to herself as she eases a card into an empty expansion slot. Most deckers are early adopters. They buy whatever's newest, shell out huge amounts of nuyen in hopes of riding the bleeding edge. Stupid. Why? Because I can have 5 of last year's models for a quarter of the price of that Wiz's new cyberdeck, and after I finished daisy chaining them together, the machine that I built would run circles around your hot new deck. Makes sense to me. Good. That's a good sign. Shows that you're thinking clearly. Frowning, she yanks a stick of memory from the old deck. So, was there something else that you needed? Tell me about yourself. She pauses for a moment. Okay, I don't like small talk. Does that count? Sure, tells me that you don't want to be social. Look, it's nothing personal. I just don't think I'm a very interesting person. She shrugs. Sorry if that disappoints you. Okay. Talks about the ambush at Victoria Harbour. I'd rather not. I lost some friends there. Duncan and I didn't come out of the attack unscathed either. They shot Carter down, same as your friends. Was she your friend? You didn't seem that close. He returns her attention to the octopus, turning her back on you. You don't like talking about things other than your computer very much, do you? There's a long pause before she responds. When she does, she sounds vaguely hurt. I prefer not to. Nothing personal, it's just the way that I am. Nothing wrong with that, I just want to know who I'm running with, don't you? Yes, you're still a mystery to me. There's a long pause. I don't like mysteries, but I do enjoy solving them. She turns, gives you her full attention. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna ask you a question. Something personal. After you've given me an answer, you get to ask me something. Think of it like a game of questions. We take turns until one of us wants to quit. Deal? Deal? Go first. Ask away. She studies your face. We'll start off easy. Tell me what you really think about Duncan. We're old friends who drifted apart. You seem to mean more to him than he does to you. Well, you've answered my question. I guess that makes it your turn. Where did you learn to dig? The Whampoa. I lived there for a while after escaping the walled city. The people there were difficult. We didn't get along, but it was a great place to learn. And that would make it my turn. So tell me, what was your connection to Raymond Black? He was like a father to me and Duncan. He helped us out of the Barrens. In that case, I'm sorry for your loss. Losing the ones that you love is hard. Your turn, ask me a question. How did you and Gobbet meet? Her brow furrows, and after a moment she screws her eyes shut. We met as kids, in the walled city. My prison was her playground. Are you okay, Isabel? Of course I'm okay. I'm fine. She shifts her gaze to the octopus. I just have a hard time remembering those days. My childhood is kind of a blur. And that brings us back to my turn. She gestures at the cabin walls around you. You enjoy it, don't you, living like this, work in the shadows? I enjoy it. Raymond Black was wrong. This is what I was born to do. She nods slowly. I knew it. I could read it all over you. Your turn. How long have you been running the shadows with Gobbet? That's a good question. I guess about 4 years now. A decent stretch by anyone's reckoning. My turn again. Her head tilts as she studies your face. And I think my last question for you. You're stuck here, marooned. You and Duncan both. He's obviously unhappy with the situation. He keeps going on about things that he left behind. But what about you? Is there anything that you want to get back to? Nothing worth mentioning. Truth be told, I'm enjoying the change of scenery. Nothing. There isn't anything about your old life that you miss. I don't know whether to envy you or feel sorry for you. She glances down at the clock on her desk, an antique model with physical hands that look like it was wrenched out of a submarine. Frown spreads across her face. Shit, it's even later than I thought. I've still got a long way to go before Octopus is fixed. She begins to turn away, her attention fixed on the stack of partially disassembled cyberdecks right in front of her. Aren't you forgetting something? She stops in place, fidgets. If you got another question, go ahead and ask, but be quick about it. I need you to tell me what you can about the walled city. Her voice goes cold. Why? Do you think that Hellhole is getting into our heads, influencing our dreams? Her cheeks flush, just like they did the last time. She averts her eyes. No, I'm sorry, but no. Later maybe, but not now. Isabel, please, this is important. Yes, but... Blinking, she turns away and buries herself in the octopus's plus blade innards. Please excuse me, I have work to do. Gosh. Hopefully this can be quicker. Cuppet's nest is pretty much what you'd expect. Piles of clothes on the ground, an overflowing garbage bin surrounded by stacks of instant noodle package, and towers of tinned oysters. Avant-garde posters haphazardly thumbtacked to the walls, overlapping in some places and peeling in others. It feels a lot like an art school dorm room. Cuppet reclines in a corner, cradling a bowl of soup in her hands. At her feet, a cast iron pot simmers away on an electrical hot plate. Contents are typical Hong Kong comfort food. Chicken-style soy broth, elbow macaroni, tinned ham, and a heaping scoop of egg-flavored mycoprotein. As you wind your way through the piles of dirty laundry, Cuppet slowly lifts her head from her bowl to acknowledge you. Hey, I see that, Seattle. She chews on her words along with a mouthful of cheap pasta. A corner of her mouth curls up into a half smile. How's Trix? Things have been better, things have been worse. That's the attitude. Very stoic, very strong. It's downright inspiring. She skims an oily slab of pork ham off the top of her soup and pops it into her mouth. Now, do you want to tell me what you're doing in my bedroom? I'm assuming you're not here to admire the view. Hmm. Had any nightmares recently? Like bad ones? Her jaw stops working mid-chew. Slowly she nods. Yeah, yeah, I have. We all have. Everyone in town. Don't there be mass panic then? I mean, this ranks pretty high on the list of things to get freaked out about. She chuckles softly. Yeah, I think that your list is different from mine. And the people of Hawaii have learned to put up with a lot worse than bad dreams. I'm not saying they shouldn't be freaked out. I'm just saying that when you live in a place like this, you usually have at least 20 other things to worry about. Tangible things, the kind that can put a bullet in your head. In my professional opinion, the dreams are coming from inside the walled city. All of the negative energy that's pent up in there. All of that pain and angry and poisonous ki is leaking out, and it's getting into our heads while we sleep. It's pretty freaky, more so than the people here are prepared to understand. You think this is a magical phenomenon then? Yeah, yeah, I think it is. Want my personal opinion? The walled city is cursed. Deep down, I think that everybody knows it, and we live in its shadow. That's bound to mess up with your head, you know. And it is, but they're just dreams. It's not like they can hurt us, right? Who says they can? She tries on a smile, fails, does her best to laugh it off. Don't worry, Seattle, we're fine here, but let's talk about something else, huh? I don't like thinking about the walled city very much. Too many old fears and bad feelings. Okay, how did you decide on the name Gobbet? I didn't. She pops a noodle in her mouth and chews. My mom did. So Gobbet is your given name. Your mother named you after a wad of meat. She shrugs. Yeah, sure. I don't think she knew what it meant. She just thought that it sounded pretty. You should get used to that, by the way. People here in Hong Kong like to stand out, and choosing unique names is one of the ways they'll do it. Talk about the ambush. Yeah, she nods slowly, frowning. Yeah, I figured you would. That was a hell of a thing, right? You could say that. It was fucking awful. Nightjar and Godshot were two of the strongest men I've ever known. Quality Shadowrunners, both of them. I've watched those two fight through situations that'd kill anyone and come out on top. And how do they go out? She mimes holding a rifle, makes her show up peering down the scope. Bang, bang, dead, dead. No blaze of glory, no final speed, just extinguished, smashed like bugs. We would have gone the same way if you hadn't gotten us out of there. She absent-mindedly raises her bowl to her shoulder. A rat crawls over the slope of her back and lowers its head to lap at the broth. It was more rat than me. She's the one who grabbed me by the gut and led us to that sewer entrance. All that I did was follow. Tell me more about Rat. What kind of a totem is she? She slurps thoughtfully at her soup. Clever one. She's gotten me out of more trouble than I care to mention. Gotten me into a fair amount of it too, but I can always count on her to lead me out of hot water when I need her to. I can feel it in my belly, you know. Sort of a tucking sensation. I have long since learned to follow it. I'm a shaman myself, never had my totem take an active role in leading me anywhere before. Don't feel bad about it. Me and Rat, well, we have a sort of a special bond. She takes care of me, and I've always done my best to take care of her. Another pair of beady eyes blinks up at you from Gobbet's hip. A second rat scurries up her shoulders to join the first. And to spoil and pamper her earthly children, like these two, meet madness and folly. Are they just normal rats then? I thought they might have been spirits or something. Nope, just rats. She brushes her fingers across the white rat's mottled coat. Don't trust Folly. She bites. You seem okay. How did you come across Madness and Folly? She raises an eyebrow. I look outside. I looked outside. I mean, they're rats. Hong Kong isn't experiencing a rodent shortage, you know. So you just pick them off the street. Yep, think of them as rescue vermin. You could probably do the same if you wanted to. It's easy. Just walk into an alleyway in Kowloon after sundown. Stick your hand in the first dumpster or storm drain that you come across. Keep fishing around until you touch fur. Looked like a really bad idea. Yeah, in retrospect it might have been. He continues to brush Folly's coat. Creature chirps happily at her touch. Odds are about 50-50 that you'd get your hand chewed off. I'd probably feel bad about that. You seem pretty comfortable with all this. You've been running Shadowruns for a while. A long time. Started when I was a kid. Yeah, I gather you've seen a lot of action then. He rolls her shoulders. Plenty. Been in more firefights than I can count. You're pretty new at this, you and Duncan both. It shows. He takes a moment to study you. Slowly, her mouth tilts into a smirk. What you need is a wizened mentor, an experienced runner from whose experience you can benefit. I'm thinking that might as well be me. Sure, why not? I could use the advice, and I don't see Isabel volunteering for that job anytime soon. You're in. Good. Starting next time you visit, I'm gonna teach you all about being a Shadowrunner. She stifles a yawn. You're gonna benefit from my bountiful experience. Wait and see. Looking forward to it. Gobbet stretches, stifles a yawn. Her rats scurry from her shoulders down to her hips. She taps the shimmering pot on the floor with her boot. The soup inside has reduced down into a thick, viscous gravy. You know, Seattle, this has been a nice chat and all, but it's getting late, and I still have the rest of a hot pot to power through. So, without wanting this to get awkward, he glances toward the door. Say no more. I'll get out of your hair. Take it easy. You too. Oh, finally, sweet Jesus. And I'll enter right here. Hopefully the game picks up speed, because while it's nice to establish yourself, it's I played a few hours easily and pretty much nothing has happened. I'd like things to get going.